back at it again with a brand new video essay, and for this week we're going to be talking about a tower who at this point has suffered the fate of being forgotten and just downright meaningless in TDS, and that is the medic. So as you all know, there are many different types of towers in this game. One of the most popular ones, is just DPS towers, because these are the guys who do the main DPS. Huge amounts of DPS, nothing too new about there. However, there's also a different types of genre towers that are also placed in this game, and those are the support towers. In this category of support towers, these guys generally don't really do that much damage and are more or less created for the sole purpose to actually support other nearby towers with different types of effects and their own ways. As an example, the most popular ones are, for an example, the commander, who can boost rate of fire speed for all nearby towers in a pretty big range, the DJ, who applies many different buffs and bonuses such as range, upgrade discount prices, and of course, damage. With these two support towers representing, well, the support towers category, that must mean that majority or just to all support towers must be really strong and just useful, right? Yes, that is pretty much for almost every single support character in this game. However, there is one character or tower who is pretty much forgotten, and at this point with the new released updates has basically just fallen even farther, and that is the medic. The medic has been for so many years basically been kind of the black sheep of the support category family. And that is mainly because her kit is just really bizarre, and not in a bad way whatsoever. So what does the medic do? In a game where towers cannot die at all, you're probably thinking, what the fuck can a medic do in a tower defense game and not in a PvP game? Well, that's because the medic's base kit is quite unique. The medic has a passive ability. At the start of every single wave, your base will regenerate any missing HP, which on paper sounds really amazing, because I mean, like, basically having a tower that can just regenerate your base's HP for free as long as you place them down is crazy good. And what's best of all for the medic is her ultimate ability. This ability allows her to instantly extinguish any towers with the stunned effect from any enemies that actually attack. For an example, final bosses. Now again, with these two abilities, one passive and one activation ability, this medic must be really good. Well, for a while, aka like a few years, she's been meh-ish, mainly because the medic isn't really a character that's really useful too much, because I mean, quite honestly, having your base's HP missing a bit of health is not that big of a deal at all, and then also your towers basically being stunned and dizzy for a few seconds is also not that big of a deal as well. So the medic has always been meh in this game, but then recently we got a big update in this game that made the medic just abundantly more useless in this game. Not entirely useless, but just generally much more useless. And that is, of course, the skill tree system, which I just call the perk system. And one of these, or more or less these specific perks, actually kill the medic herself. This bandages perk allows the player's health base or whatever to regenerate at the start of every single wave. Doesn't that sound very familiar? And that's because it is. This is legit the medic's ability just for free, like completely free. All you need to do is just upgrade the shit out of this, and literally your base will just regenerate HP at the start of every single wave. Here is another perk, the extreme conditioning. This one is a little bit not as much, but still does the exact same thing. It reduces the stun and debuff durations from enemies, which is of course one of the abilities, or just the big ability for the medic, but these two perks specifically, extreme conditioning and bandages, directly counter the medic's purpose in this game. Now, I will give her the benefit of the doubt. The medic isn't entirely useless. She still has that ability that instantly cleanses, but that doesn't mean that the medic is just good all of a sudden, because with these perks and already her reputation and or status in this game, not being that useful, making her even more not useful in Tower Defense Simulator. So quite honestly, the medic in this game is just kind of dead. Now that doesn't mean, of course, that she's entirely bad. She's still somewhat useful, but still, this is just my early thoughts right now. I still do think that the medic is quite honestly in a bad spot right now, and I was thinking for a potential buff for the medic, and that was essentially having a little bit smaller of a radius zone next to the medic. And in this radius zone, any towers that are basically next to the medic will be completely invincible to any stun attacks from any enemies. Now, of course, this sounds pretty strong because you could just place this next to accelerators or any other strong towers. But the bad thing is that, you know, you are kind of taking up space because you're putting medics next to very important towers. So that kind of is a bit of a twist, but I think that's really the only way, or at least one of the only things I could think of, to actually give a big buff to the medic, because goddamn dude, the only real advantage, or I guess positives, the medic has currently in today's standards is being
extremely sexy.